So you see, Stormy has been elevated by the cultural, political, and now the prosecutorial establishment. Now, it's amazing to watch the media disparage and attack women of real substance, while they laud a woman who spends most of her time hanging off a pole, half or completely naked. A porn star who's already signed a detailed letter, by the way, stating that she had no affair with Donald Trump. But now she's changed her story to sell tickets to her strip act. Her greatest accomplishment may be stripping the Mueller investigation of all credibility. So let the media applaud their darling of the moment. She's actually a good representative of what they've become. But for America, we're going to stick with substance and truly independent women. And that's the angle. Joining me now for reaction in New York is Tammy Bruce, who's the president of Independent Women's Voice and a Fox News contributor. Also in New York is Cathy, Areu, a liberal analyst and publisher of Catalina magazine. And with me on set is Anita McBride, who was chief of staff to First Lady Laura Bush. Great to have all of you strong, independent, and smart women of substance on the show with me tonight. I want to start with you, Anita. I was so angered by what, first of all, they've done to Melania from the very beginning, ridiculing her accent, talking about how she's in prison. That's the meme, Free Melania. And now this. She rolls out this new initiative, and it's dismissed and denigrated before it even begins. Double standards?
Absolutely, and I think it's great, number one, that you are covering this tonight, because she is a woman of substance, and I have to say there's no question in my mind why the polls are in her favor. It's because people are beginning to see a lot more of her. She has beautifully represented us overseas as a graceful and gracious First Lady. Her first state dinner was flawless. And also, now we've seen her with children. She's authentic with children. She cares about them. You could see it. This was perfect. Initiative for her to talk about how we should all, everybody that touches the life of a child has a responsibility to help them lead a better life. That's what she talked about today.
Cathy, Areu, I want to go to you here because I've been hearing so much from women of, more left of center women, that it's time for women. It's the woman's moment. It's the Me Too moment. Of course, we're going to get to Schneiderman later, but we got the Me Too movement. We got women breaking glass ceilings everywhere. It's a good thing.
Right.
Here we have a First Lady who has not really delved into politics. This is all new to her. Mm-hmm. She takes a while to, get her footing. She announces this initiative today, and what she's introduced with by the Washington Post is a story filled with anonymous sources claiming to know when the president and the First Lady eat together, not eat together, and in the White House briefing room saying she doesn't even live at the White House. I mean, don't you think we'd know if the First Lady didn't live at the White House? Your reaction to this?
Well, I wrote for the Washington Post for over a decade, and we had great sources. Many of my sources were anonymous, and they were solid sources. And I stand by the Washington Post and their reporting. And the problem is, the irony is that she's going after cyber bullies. That's her initiative, and her husband is known as a cyber bully. So I think that's the problem with her initiative. It just so happens that the day she does it, he's tweeting angry tweets. So it's unfortunate because she is trying to do the right thing with this initiative, and he's almost like canceling it out.
It's unfortunate that. Okay. Yeah. It's unfortunate. You had to say it's unfortunate. Okay. Yeah. Michelle did Let's Move initiative. Right. She got Congress she frankly really put the pressure on Congress to push this $5 billion initiative for school lunches. The thing was a total disaster. Okay, kids hated the lunches. They threw them away. They made videos about them. And you can get in on this, Tammy. Did you ever hear a member of the media criticize Michelle for a school lunch initiative that fell flat across the, was well-intentioned? I'm sure it was. We have to get rid of obesity. All that's good. On the substance, there wasn't even criticism of Michelle. It was all push-ups on Ellen and going on Fallon and on the cover of 50 million magazines, and she's most beautiful, that's fine. But come on.
Well, from the legacy
double
media.
standard here is pathetic. I'm enraged by this. I think it's so unfair.
Look, it was the legacy media was quiet. Talk radio talked about it. The blogosphere talked about it. The Town Hall of America talked about it, because it was those families, those homes where kids were coming home and we're not getting nutrition. It became a real negative problem. And then even when we recognized this, there was a refusal to adjust it. And so, you know, that became, and look, she was involved in policy, a powerful advocate. And usually if you implement something that doesn't work, you might want to change it, but there was none of that. And here what we've got, and even just recently, Mrs. Obama complained again about women who voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's listen to that. We actually have this, Tammy. I want to play it for all three of you. Let's watch.
Good.
In light of this last election, I'm concerned about us as women and how we think about ourselves and about each other. What is going on in our heads where we let that happen, you know? So I do wonder, what are young girls dreaming about if we're still there?
Anita McBride, this is one more example of liberal women denigrating the choices of conservative women. So if we decide Donald Trump is the right person for the country at the time, a lot of different Republican choices, we support, then we're stupid, we're acting against self-interest, we're dumb, and I guess we're sexist. I mean, it's Michelle Obama's comment, no one will say it, but I'll say it, is offensive. It's offensive to women who don't agree with her liberal leftist worldview.
And it's offensive to women who sure would like to see a woman president, but they want to see the right woman president. And we'll have that sometime in our lifetime. This was not the right time. This was not the right person. Didn't care about or project the issues that Americans, a lot of women like you and I care about. Security and prosperity. That was first and foremost.
Tammy.
Yeah, if I may chime in here. As a feminist, as a woman who worked in this line for most of my adult life, it was supposed to be about, and we've achieved this, women thinking for themselves, making choices that were best for themselves and their families. And now that is being denigrated. This should be celebrated, that women are making a choice based on what's good for them, not based on what an establishment or a celebrity is, or a political celebrity is telling them to do. And this is what's damaging, and I think what, thank goodness, American women are rejecting, because the notion that we are in fact responsible for ourselves, and when Mrs. Obama wonders, what are we thinking? We're thinking about the future. We're thinking if we can afford to pay the rent, if we can clothe our children, if we can get our children into the schools that will serve them best. These are the decisions we made, and with Donald Trump, we clearly made the right decision. So this is now what the modern feminist movement is about, and it's got to be embraced, and fortunately, it is with the Trumps in office.
All right, it's a big country. We can all agree, disagree. It's fine. It's supposed to be pro-choice, except in politics, I guess. Speaking of double standards, by the way, I want you all to react here. As I said, the New York State's Attorney General, Democrat Eric Schneiderman, has resigned tonight. It comes just after hours after an explosive report from the New Yorker magazine where 4 women accused him of horrific acts of physical abuse. Now, despite his resignation, Schneiderman is denying the accusations, but he's been a champion, let's not forget, of the Me Too movement. Earlier this year, he even denounced Harvey Weinstein, saying, "We've never seen anything as despicable as what we've seen here." Cathy, Areu, Schneiderman, I believe he's also the guy to go after the Trump Foundation, if my memory serves me correct. But look, this can't be a fun night for any Democrat.
No,
we had Kirsten Gillibrand saluting him as the leader for women's issues. I just sent out a tweet. Follow me on Twitter. You'll see the comment from her. Your reaction?
I think it's awful. If this is true, it's truly awful. He was a rising star in the Democratic Party, so this is awful. If true, if this is in fact true, then no woman can stand behind this. No feminist can stand behind this. I can't stand behind this. So it's sad. It's a horrible day for the Me Too movement. It's a horrible day for women, men, everyone, politicians, the Democratic Party. Everyone involved. This is awful news, and I don't think anyone likes to hear that this happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
find it disgusting.
look, I am actually going to say, look, if allegations are true, I think we should all say that. He's not convicted in a court of law. I wish people would preface everything they say about Donald Trump in the same way. If these allegations are true, if everyone just assumes, oh, it's all true because Stormy Daniels has a guest spot on Saturday Night Live. Here's a couple of tweets from Schneiderman. I'll let the other women on the panel respond. No one is above the law, and I'll continue to remind President Trump and his administration of that fact every day, October 11, 2017. Another tweet. Without the reporting of the New York Times and the New Yorker and the brave women women and men who spoke up about the sexual harassment that they endured at the hands of powerful men, there would not be the critical national reckoning underway. Tammy, Bruce, national reckoning.
This is typical. Look, this is typical. All these men, these liberal men, clothe themselves in the cloak of feminism. And Weinstein did the same thing. Bill Clinton was doing the same thing. It was all about we're your protectors, we're your advocates, and that had kept them safe. This is about power. It's about complete control. And with the report, again, if true, is not about sexual harassment, but physical violence and perhaps even some crimes. And the dynamic now here in New York is going to get very complicated. But this is not unusual. It sits within the same kind of template that we saw with Weinstein and everyone else in this framework. And I think liberals have to think about what is it about men on that side. Again, I'm still a registered Democrat in California. What is it that they've given them a pass for so long because they've had power and they said, we'll effectively, we will do this, but we will protect you otherwise, and that otherwise the entire narrative of the liberal agenda will collapse if you don't protect us. This is falling apart, and it's not going to end.
Well, it's not just Democrats. I mean, this cuts across party lines, but
not as much, Laura. Not as much.
Not of the high-profile people. You're right, but look,
well, of course.
we've all seen the more left-leaning media over the years kind of look the other way. I heard about that Weinstein thing 20 years ago, and I think a lot of people knew about that. Anita, again, Schneiderman was one of the most anti-Trump people out there, hitting him at every turn, even about consensual relationships alleged. Your reaction to close out?
Well, I think he is right about one thing. No one is above the law, and the law will play out.
Great panel. Independent, smart, strong women.